Yeah, I have my moments when I want to throw the bike, I had my moment. I remember you've asked about Dubrovnik and Athens. And when we pushed, the bikes, oh God, through the Albanian mountains with beautiful views. But this was my moment also asking myself whether I'm actually capable to do that, because it was so hard, and I knew that friend of mine is in Italy, drinking mojito on the beach. And I said to myself, what the heck I'm doing here?
She told me all the time, you have a lot of patience. Patience? Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. But this is my dream. I don't need stress. I don't need nothing. I like. It's difficult. I'm 51 years old. So I need to enjoy the moment. Enjoy every day, all the time. Yeah.
Welcome to the Seek Travel Ride podcast, where we share the stories and experiences of people who have undertaken amazing adventures by bike. Whether it's crossing state borders, mountain ranges, countries or continents, we want to share that spirit of adventuring on two wheels with our listeners. Hello, I'm your host, Bella Malloy, and I'm excited to introduce my guests for today's episode of Seek Travel Ride, Barbara and Jordi. This intrepid couple decided to leave their life behind in Dublin to fulfill a dream of seeing the world by bicycle. Now, this decision was made during the global pandemic, and so to ready themselves for an adventure, they started out first with smaller ones from their home in Ireland. They saved up for months, bought themselves sturdier touring bikes and the equipment they would need to take such a journey on. What has followed has been anything but small, and so far they've cycled destinations such as the Wild Atlantic Way and the Camino de Santiago, and also set off for a last tester ride across Europe from Dubrovnik to Athens. After that journey, they started preparing for the bigger ones to come. They then set off from Amsterdam, made their way through 9 countries across Europe, making sure to stop and visit family and friends in Poland and Barcelona, because the next leg of their journey would take them far away. Since then, they've now left Europe behind, and I'm speaking to them now in Santiago, Chile, in South America. They have cycled through Patagonia, taken on Route 40, and arrived all the way in Ushuaia, the end of the world. From here, Barbara and Jordi now plan to cycle north through Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, and who knows where afterwards. There's no doubt great adventures lay ahead of them for sure, but I'm really keen to find out what it's been like to make this goal an actual reality. What's it like to close off one chapter of your life? Say goodbye to work, family, friends, possessions, your home, in order to spend such a long time touring on the road. And, of course, I can't wait to hear about all their experiences on the road so far. Barbara and Jordi, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
It's so lovely to meet you. In fact, I call you Barbara and Jordi. People who follow on Instagram will know you as the people behind the account Two Locos on Wheels. It's been such a thrill for me to follow the Two Locos on Wheels for so long and see this trip unfold in your reels and in your pictures. I can't wait to find out more about you both. But Barbara and Jordi, a question which I start my show with, and I ask this to all my guests, is, do you remember the very first bicycle you ever rode? So, Jordi, how about you? Can you remember your first bike?
I remember, I think, 5 years old. I remember my small bike go around my grandma's house in the countryside all the time with my cousins. But yeah, this is my first remember it.
You've got family in Barcelona, and you mentioning the countryside. Did you sort of live with family outside of the main city there, or did you move to Barcelona later in life?
No, I live in Barcelona for 45 years. They have a house only for weekends, and that's it. And every time we have all the family, my cousin, my aunties, and my parents go, and we have 3-4 bikes every day, just all around.
So Jordi, his parents was in the city, and then every time they were going to the countryside, to the grandparents' house where everybody was meeting always.
All the families.
Awesome.
Yeah, 16, 17.
Wow. Fun times. And I could just imagine as well, you're talking about being a 5-year-old riding bikes, like what great memories to reflect back on at that age, riding bikes with your cousins around the countryside, just having fun. So what about you, Barbara? Can you remember your first bike?
I remember perfectly. It was I was 6 years old in my hometown. That time, actually, we still had the communism in Poland. So a lot of things weren't available, a lot of products you couldn't buy. And if someone through someone heard that in one shop will be something available, the queue start and, through the connections. But actually on Sunday, we passed in city center with my dad, and at the window of the hardware shop, there was a bicycle. It was called Pelican. I remember. In fact, we still have it. My parents still have it in the basement. The bike.
Oh my gosh, how awesome. You've got your childhood bike.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love that bit of nostalgia. Keep going.
Yeah, my parents, decide to buy that bike. My dad was like running like a crazy on Monday. So he would be the first one before anyone else because it was just the one. And that's how I got my yellow Pelican, and I started to learn. So as a child, I had that stick at the back, and my dad was helping me with to keep the balance. But one of the days, I didn't realize that he actually did let it go. And I was going by myself on the way actually to my granny place. Yeah, so that's my first memories.
Very different sort of reflections back there as well. Barbara, you're from Poland originally. Jordi, you're from Barcelona in Spain. But you have been together and you lived in Ireland.
In Ireland, yeah.
So did you meet in Ireland?
No, I lived in Ireland for 18 years and Jordi since February 2018 because we met on Camino walking. Now we didn't cycle in August 2017. And then he decided that time that he will come to Dublin. I had a stable job. I had my, my life, and it was kind of easier for him. And he said to me that he will come to Ireland, to Dublin, and
Change the life.
Yeah, he was in love with me too.
So many reasons why people take on a Camino, but it's never struck me that there's relationships that have started from the Camino as well.
Yeah, we never, the two of us went with our own reasons to do the Camino. I actually, years back, seen the movie called The Way with Martin Sheen, and I said that one day I will go and I will start from San Jan just like him with the passport, and I wanted to do the whole walk, the one go. I didn't want to split because some people, they just do parts, each person has a different idea.
The plus is Barbara in the Camino don't speak Spanish. I don't speak English.
Yeah, this was another thing. Yeah. So I had my reasons to do the Camino. Jordi as well. Yeah, exactly. When we've met, it was in a small village, Lorca, and early in the morning. And I was in the kitchen and I've seen him asking another Spanish guy something with the cup of coffee. The guy shook the head like, no. So I kind of look at it and I was like, he probably is looking for either sugar or the spoon. So he didn't see me. I tap his shoulder and I kind of show him the sign language. Come on. He looked at me, follow to the kitchen. I opened the press, spoon. Okay, sugar. Here we go. He got his sugar, he drank his coffee and he left. That's it. And then about half an hour later, I left from the albergue. And normally there is a lot of pilgrims. And that morning there was no one. What happened? At the end of the road, the last lamp, was there. And after that, the walk started like in the forest and there was no more lights. And Jordi's headlights was gone. Like he had no light. So who's coming next with the huge halogen on his head? It was me. So he tried to explain to me. And then
I started walking beside Barbara saying,
keep looking. Now, the best part was, I actually, because it's my first Camino, I had extra things and I actually had the second headlamp. But the first instinct was to give him the lamp and that's it. But you know what? I opened the backpack when I was searching, something, came to me and I was like, no, you're always so good. You always want to help. You always want to do the best. And, sometimes I did have a bad experience. So I was like, no, close the backpack and we end up walking together. So I actually never gave him the lamp.
But you didn't need to. And then, the rest, c'est la vie.
Jordi actually, at the end of the day, came up with the idea of Google Translator because we couldn't completely understand each other. He had no word of English and I didn't speak Spanish at all.
Did you then do the whole rest of the Camino together?
No, we only walked 6 days. Jordi did the last for him. He finished in Burgos.
In Burgos, yeah.
So then was like you have a pilgrim passport, you give a stamp. And I gave the last stamp because he was missing that part. So in Burgos, I gave a last stamp, and you say something sometimes, and you never really think it will happen. But I kind of said to him in English that, it would be really nice if when I arrive in Santiago, if you could put the last stamp in my passport. And that was it. And I continue. We were, in contact. And then few days before my arrival, he sent me a message that he bought the ticket and that he's coming to Santiago. And I was like, I panicked that time. I was like, well, why? You went back to your life. I'm here. What's going on? And he said, you remember? You said it. And I was like, I even didn't know that you kind of understood, And he was like, no. I'm going to come in and I will put the last stamp.
I have a ticket.
Yeah, I have a ticket. And that's it.
That's so beautiful. It was meant to be. I must say, I do have a little soft spot for the Camino. I've not travelled it at all. My mother and father-in-law have. And like you there, Barbara watched the movie The Way as well and made it happen. And I have friends who have cycled it. The reason I have a soft spot for it is because my little village in France in the Pyrenees, the Camino actually goes through our village. So there are many times where I have seen the pilgrims walking the trail and I've often wondered about them and their journeys. And who knows, maybe you've walked through my village as well. That's pretty cool.
Every year was something coming up that I couldn't do it, the whole thing. And the truth is that the relationship which was before, which I had before I met Jordi, wasn't the best one. So I actually remember walking and, speaking to the one above and saying like, you know what, that's fine. If you want me to be by myself, it's okay. But if not, if there is a really someone for me, like please, if that there will be the right one, but the way how I am. You know me with my temperament, with my character, and that's it. And and the next morning someone's lamp broke down.
The rest is history. Let's fast forward then. Jordi, you've moved to be with Barbara there in Ireland and you make a life for both of yourselves there. But there was a longing, and I think it was Barbara, you asked Jordi a question about is there a goal that he really wants to achieve in life? And that's really where the idea for both of you to maybe see the world on two wheels, two locos on wheels, came about really, wasn't it?
It was actually one of the evenings, it was two of us at home during the COVID. And, I love reading. Sometimes you read the different stories in the magazine, and sometimes it's sad when people have those dreams and they postpone them and then something happened and they never really get to do things. Yeah, just out of the blue, I asked Jordi if he has like some dream that till now, for whatever reasons, he couldn't fulfill or he didn't fulfill.
The magic words.
Yeah. And the answer?
I said, my dream is go for cycling for a long time.
Yeah, so then I was like, start, dig, obviously as a woman, like give me more information. Is there a specific place that you would like to go, or for how long you would want to go? So he said to me, like, minimum it's 3 to 6 months. He didn't care where. He just wanted to go and have that experience on a long bicycle trip.
To go for 3-6 months, only have a experience for 6 months on the bike and go put the tent and meet people and feel free, exactly.
Jordi, is there a reason why you wanted to do this with a bicycle to travel? Why you thought specifically this is your goal, to take a long-distance bike journey for 3 to 6 months?
When I had 16, 17 years old, my dad bought for me the bike race. And every day I start cycling. And my parents have a caravan in the camping, 80 kilometers from my house. And every weekend I go with my bike to camping. And so I every day cycling, and Friday go for camping, for weekend, and Sunday go home. And this is like a small treat for me, but it's my house. Another house is not the same. And every year in my mind, my dream is like, okay, maybe start one day from Barcelona and go
somewhere.
Yes, and I make the Camino by bike 3 times. Yeah, it's my escape. Yeah,
his escape.
After work in holidays, all the people go for disconnect. You go to hotels. I bring my bike to France and go to Santiago. 1 week, 10 days, 3 times. And later, I meet Barbara and no more.
Barbara, you learn this, that Jordi's got this long dream, this long goal to take many months to go on a bicycle adventure. How much convincing do you need to think, maybe this is something I would like to do as well?
I didn't really. I actually said, okay, let me look at it. I did like the idea. I didn't know, like, I've never done the long journeys like that before, but I did like the idea. So after some time, I don't know, a few weeks, I went back to him and I said that we go, I like it, but it's not going to be 3 to 6 months. I'm kind of very practical, and I knew that we won't be able to. It's like 3 to 6 months, it wasn't enough. So I said to him, minimum 2 years. If we go for minimum 2 years and even more. What happened? Working in the hospital, I have a lot of friends which take like a career break, and usually go either to the United States or to Australia. And I know from looking, at them that one day they go and just with a blink of an eye, they are back. So that 1 year flies. So I knew that once we go for something that big, I don't want to be like kind of in that 1 year frame. So this was the reason. This was the moment when he go completely nuts, and he was driving me crazy for months, preparing everything.
So you share this goal, Jordi, with Barbara. Barbara then goes, well, no, 6 months not long enough. It's got to be a minimum of 2 years. You're not put off by that. Are you then working out, okay, how am I going to make this happen? Where could we go? How do we make this work? Like, what are you thinking about there, Jordi?
Oh, yeah, this is my dream. 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years. It's more time.
He was very surprised, actually. He never
excited,
expected me to, that I will say more, that, he was hoping for 3 to 6 months. So it was a big surprise that I actually said more.
And when Barbara explained why we're going for 2 years, not for 6 months, yeah, okay, all right.
I often say sometimes it takes saying out loud a goal and a dream to make it a reality. It's almost like you've said it out loud, it's become more than a thought and you're committing yourself to do it. But what I've realised in researching about your travels so far, Barbara and Jordi, is you've understood that you're beginners with this idea, and you've sort of started giving yourself little testing journeys. You've taken smaller trips to learn what is it going to be like for a short journey so that we can prepare for a longer one. And I'd like to talk about maybe some of your earlier trips that you took. For you there, Barbara, because Jordi, you had the experience of going to your family's caravan for weekends for so long. You did your trips on the Camino there. You knew sort of what it would be like to travel for a few days in a row on a bike. But Barbara, you didn't. What was your experience like on your first adventure trip, so to speak?
So the first one was a short one, and it was actually mine one. Living in south part of Dublin, I've always wanted to cycle through Sally Gap to Glendalough. It's like, I think, 55 kilometers. And it's through the mountains. So when he came one of the weekend, to visit me, I said to him, what do you think? We go and do it? And he really liked it. So that time we didn't take any camping gear. We actually booked, B&B, and we went. That was very spontaneous. And the next one, which was for me definitely the experience, during the COVID, as we weren't allowed to go anywhere abroad, he said he found a route which is called Northwest Trail, which goes between the Republic of Ireland and North of Ireland. And he said, what do you think, Barbara, if that trip? I was like, okay, why not?
460 kilometers.
That's a good tester.
Yeah, I already had bikes. Because I always like cycling, but I've never done the trips. But I use the bikes like cycling around the town or go to the park, have my tea or shopping. So I had actually 2 bikes. One was, the lady one, but for giant, like with the really low frame. Like when I see them in Holland with a basket in the front, and I love it. And the other one, which I had previously, was a cross, also the lady, but the traditional, like the lady's frame. So yeah, I had some panniers from Lidl. Whatever we had, basically, we packed. I like camping, so I also had like some basic equipment for the camping, the can of gas for cooking.
Big tent
for 4 people.
God.
Oh my goodness, how much did this weigh?
Very comfortable.
Yeah, so we basically packed everything. We drove from Dublin to Sligo. We left the car there, and then we packed everything on the bikes, and we started the Northwest Trail. And on the way back, once we arrived, again, we decided to drive from Sligo to the Westport, and then we left the car again, and we've done the Greenway. It was the same holidays. We've done the Greenway all the way to the Achill Island. And so that was
beautiful place.
Yeah. We were very lucky. We had 2 weeks of sunshine in Ireland, just like one day with a little bit of rain, but it was actually nice and refreshing. And yeah, we had a lot of fun and new experiences for the both of us.
What I really love about that is you make a decision to try something, and instead of leaving it as this idea, you've sort of then gone, okay, well, let's give this a go. And instead of thinking you need to find all the equipment before you can start, you looked at what you already had and just used it, even if it was a heavy 4-person tent. To some degree, and don't get me wrong, I'm certain you have had some very hard moments on this trip that you have taken. Patagonian headwinds blowing you off the road and all this sort of stuff, right? But to some degree, I often think if you start with such a heavy load and with no idea and get through that experience you take on as a beginner, if you still want to go and do this thing and you still want to have this journey and you're still doing it after that experience, you're sort of set it, aren't you? Because it's only going to get easier the more you do it, the more experience you have as well. Do you find that rings true for you there, Barbara?
Definitely, because especially in the beginning, I sometimes thought that I am weak, that there is other, cyclists. I was like, oh my God, how they do it? They can do it. Sometimes I need to get off the bike and push the bike. So for me was kind of, oh, maybe this is not for me. I was thinking like that. But then as I was getting the experience, definitely I felt better. Also, like Jordi had in the beginning, well, always have actually, not only in the beginning, but he had a lot of patience and planning the route or planning the distance. If he noticed that, for example, plan would be to do 40 kilometers, but I'm not able, it was okay to do 30, for example. That understanding that without having that kind of pressure or obligation that we have to reach certain place, for me it was fantastic, and it still is. We still travel that way. That's what I'm saying. We don't have exact routes. We're hoping each day to do certain amount of kilometers. Route 40 was a great exam because there were big parts where you have to do like 100, 120 because there is nothing from point 1 to point B. And yeah, we did it.
If you don't have time and make time.
Also, there is another thing which he always laugh at me. I need to eat every 3 hours at least. I need to have something. So
we must be sisters of the soul, Barbara. I'm aligned with you there on food.
Yeah, I have to have a sandwich or I don't know. I never really use those kind of snacks for the people, like for the sports people, like the energy bars. I don't like their taste. They're not for me. So I always have a bit of chocolate. Well, it depends which country, what temperature, but I love chocolate. So there is a bit of chocolate. There is a sandwich. There is some fruits. My stomach is actually screaming. And in the beginning, this was very difficult because if I am hungry for too long, I become angry. It's not fun for me. And it's less fun for the person which is with me.
It's my fault.
There's a term for being hungry and angry, and it's just hangry. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Yeah, you're hangry.
So there were many situations because when I was really hungry, and I mean now I need something. So I start to become insupportable. So he said, look, why don't we just make a deal? When you cycling and the first moment when you start, you just tell me that, okay, this is the moment when I'm start feeling hungry. And then we can look around if we can stop somewhere or if we can buy something. So you are okay. This was the deal.
A question I've always wondered when a couple takes on a long distance trip is, and it's through speaking with guests who are couples who've done this, is there's moments where cycling as two of you is the best thing. And there's moments where cycling, maybe you don't want to be around each other. Like it's a strain. Has it ever been difficult to be riding together? Have there been, when you're with someone, you might love them, but being with them 24 hours a day, is it too much? How have you found that, Jordi? Is it sometimes I think maybe going on a world tour is an opportunity to really find out about your partner as well?
Difficult? No.
She is asking you, honey.
No. It's not difficult.
I promise not to pinch you under the table.
It's not difficult, no. It's not for me. It's not for me difficult, no. For me, it's every day in the morning. So when we start cycling, for me, it's the best. Cycling together is the best for me. I can't imagine cycling myself alone.
What about you, Barbara? Do you ever think you could take these sort of trips on your own?
No. I never liked before we've met. I love travel, and I did I went on the trips before, but I either went like one-to-one with a friend or by myself. I never like organized trips. How to put, like, sometimes when you're with people for a short period of time, I mean like an hour or maybe half day or a day, it's okay. But if you go on holidays, it's completely different situation. And if you have to share for so long place, also each person has a different idea how the holidays, look. There are people which like to be all the time. I like to have moments for myself as well, to share them with the other person, but I like to have a space. And I have to say, like, Jordi, it's very, very good with that. And it's been kind of natural between the two of us, even when we live in Dublin together. So no, definitely I can't. He's my best partner in life, and for cycling, for sure. I wouldn't change it for anyone else.
But it's difficult, 24/7. No, it's difficult all the time, but I think it's normal in couples.
Well, I have temperament, so every now and then, in the middle, I scream, I explode, but it's about 5 minutes. He handled that really well. And depends how the situation. Sometimes we cycle for next half an hour, like with a little bit of distance. We never go asleep angry. So it's always like, it's, how to explain, it's like 5 minutes of the discussion of something, and then it's back to normal. There is never holding the grudges. There is never like throwing things at each other. Yeah, whatever happened on a day, it happened on a day. It never goes to the second day.
That's great. I talked about how you had this idea and then you started doing smaller journeys. And COVID may have been a reason for some of these as well, like sticking to Ireland and trying things out. Something else you did was you became warm showers hosts as well.
Oh, yeah.
You hosted some people. Was that part of your plan to sort of learn from others while hosting? What made you sign up to do some hosting through warm showers?
The minute I said to Jordi about the time, he literally went crazy with the research. He was like reading, looking for the information, and he actually come up with the information about the warm showers because I've never heard about it. He explained to me how is it working, what is it about, and he asked like, what do I think, if we will sign up? And I was like, yeah, I think it will be really, really great. Yeah, we opened the profile and we were waiting for our first guest to come.
Wow.
And we had a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Our first person which came to us, well, there were two of them. It was Mari and Maggie. Mari was 25 at the time and Maggie was 6. So it was a mom and her 6-year-old daughter traveling, and they end up in our home.
Yeah.
It's a unique bicycle traveller there, isn't it? A mum with a 6-year-old daughter. What was it like, Jordi, then? You've done your research and you're the host of these people. What was that experience with them like?
I am in love with Maggie.
Maggie.
In the first time when we sit in the table for dinner, so it's like one girl, 6 years old, speak 4 languages, learn in 1 year in Europe cycling. Speak Spanish with me, speak English, French, and Dutch, and German.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Me and Barbara thinking, wow.
We were
the walls.
Amazed by the experience and the bond they had through that journey. Wow, I was actually so impressed with Mari as a mom, such a young mom, only 25, and she took her little one. They were in Canary Island, different countries. Yeah. It was. And weather didn't bother them, they slept, wherever they could. I asked them about the social media, and beautiful answer I got. She said to me, I don't use it. I don't post anything. I don't write. This is my time with my daughter. Maybe one day in the future I will write something, maybe not, but I'm not going to waste any minute of our time on the internet. Yeah. This is our time. It was such a lesson for all of us, I think. Yeah. All of our experience in Dublin, having people at home, they were fantastic. But yeah, I think they always will be in our hearts.
Yeah, the first guest, and that's amazing.
Definitely. Hearing you talk about their mother-daughter traveling, it's reminded me of previous guests that I interviewed, Cedric and Azure, which are 4 of the 6 spinning legs. And I know that I have a lot of new listeners to the podcast. Welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoy hearing about all our guest experiences. If you're listening to this show and, you've got some children and you're wondering about bicycle travel as a family, I definitely encourage you to seek that episode out. Both Cedric, the father, and Azure, who I believe is 10 years old. The adventures that they have taken since Azur was 1 year old have blown me away. Their most recent trip last year was through Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan together. The journeys that they have taken, and Azur pedals his bike the whole way. But something you mentioned there, Jordi, with all the languages spoken, like Azur can speak English, French, Taiwanese. He was teaching himself Cyrillic to be able to communicate when he was in Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. And I also encourage people, they have a YouTube channel with some videos, and the videos that they have put up there of their travel are just so heartwarming. So I can just imagine what it must have been like to host this mother-daughter couple as your first experience as Warm Showers hosts as well. It would have just been beautiful. And obviously they're the first people you hosted. I imagine you hosted a few other people. Did it get you really excited for your own travels every time you were hosting another bicycle traveler? Hearing about their journey, did it make you get excited about the experiences ahead on the road for you both there as well?
Definitely, it was very good to exchange the experience, to hear from the other cyclists. Jordi, both of us, but he, from the technical point of view, was always looking at the bikes and different solutions, because each person travel differently, has a different bike, different way of, different panniers and different solutions. From one of the couple we had, it was actually the advice given to put the elastic bands on our panniers so they won't be flapping, especially the front panniers. So a lot of practical ones. And I was imagining, when you listen about others' journey, it was like, what it's going to be like. But I think until you actually on your journey, you won't understand. This was the lesson for me. And now looking back and being in the situation, they are quite different experiences, but definitely very, very helpful. And what I like very much as well, people are very open, very respectful. People from the different backgrounds, from different countries with different level of education. And we all can meet and we all can have a time together. Maybe we will meet again, maybe not, but yeah, I love it. This is the part that I actually love the most, that we can be so different, and yet for the split moment, we can be together and we can help each other.
Since being hosts, I imagine you have also been hosted many times as well by people, whether through Warm Showers or through the acts of a stranger. I think actually you had an experience just recently there in South America. I'm realizing I'm jumping ahead. Hosted is a weird way of saying this, but and I'm not sure what the situation led to this, but you were with a family traveling in like a big, massive bus type of van setup for a while?
Yeah.
What a unique experience. What happened there?
So yeah, basically on the way back from Ushuaia, we were at the border. It was really cold, and windy, and we wanted to advance, the kilometers. And doing the same route, on the weather conditions when become really, really cold and the wind change was actually in our face, we kind of said, no, we're going to ask for help. And so Jordi, was coming out because there were actually a waiting room, which was nice and warm inside. And here is the bus, the bus came and Jordi's like, go, this time go and ask. So here is me walking, just about to ask. And I see a young guy coming out and one child and the second child and a granny. And I didn't ask actually. So I went back and I said, forget about this. The whole family there. Definitely there's no space.
So what happened?
So I said to him, look, there is another car. And he went. So with the furgo didn't work out, but actually Ariel, which was the driver of the bus, seeing Jordi with the bike and with the panniers,
he told me, "What do you do here?" He said, "I wait for a truck or van and cross this party 200 kilometers by truck." He said, "Oh, come on with me." Really? Yeah, we can put the bike inside, no problem. Okay, moment, Barbara, come on. And we put the bikes inside and
it was so much space. They actually gave us their own bed at the back to sleep. We were 3 and 5 years old. Oh my God, it was absolutely fantastic. We never, ever had an experience like that.
Again, unexpected. You could never plan that would happen. You're going to have an experience with a family, 3 generations, grandmother as well, and you're going to be on their bus, the rolling bus. It looked like a party. It looked awesome.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, because he couldn't go. Actually, the bus, it was quite old, and obviously it's been like, taking so much, gasoline and everything. So he could only drive like maximum, I think, 60 per
60
hour.
an hour.
It was great because, we love the slow travel, so it didn't bother us. But he's like, it's gonna take like, longer. I said, that's okay. We have a time. Don't worry.
Still faster than us pedaling as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've skipped ahead there to very recently in South America, but I want to transport you back to Europe. I understood the first few trips there in Ireland. One of the bigger journeys you took before the official start of this bigger trip of yours was Dubrovnik to Athens, and that's quite a long journey as well. What was the motivation for taking that journey? What, from Dubrovnik to Athens, what specifically about that route and your goals to do that journey?
We wanted to do the longer trip before leaving everything, to be able, to test the gears, to see what it's like, to be a little bit longer on the journey. Jordi never been like in Croatia. I had the opportunity to visit, so I was telling him about how beautiful it is. And then Athens, I think, was one of the points as well. We talk about that we would love to visit. So we kind of look at the map, how we could, go from point A to B. So yeah, through Albania and Montenegro. And we didn't want to just go on holidays. We didn't want to do just the trip. We wanted to give some meaning to it. And overall, knowing that we're going to leave at some stage, we wanted to give something back to Ireland and to Irish people. So we decided to do the fundraising for the children. We contacted the shop where we bought our bikes, and they were so kind that they supported us with the voucher. So we were actually able to buy the new wheels. Yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah, it was like two things together. I had to ask at my work to be able to take the 4 weeks together, because normally the holidays are spread during the year for the work reasons. But yeah, when I told them about the idea, they were like, absolutely no problem.
For our listeners, an insight into what you were fundraising for, it was also very personal for you there, Barbara, and connected to your work as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. As I work in the maternity hospital, we had sometimes like very difficult cases where, we knew that the next place from our hospital, there will be a hospice where the children will be transferred. And also some of my friends, they were working in the hospice. So I knew kind of a little bit from the inside as well. And it's the only one place in Ireland also. So it was like few things combined together. I really like the way how they were working, doing things, supporting in such a difficult moments, not only the children, but especially families and parents who knows that, the time which they have with their child, it's very limited. I think this is a very difficult job, and I'm big fond of that. And yeah, this was the reason why we decided to do it. It wasn't so much about the route. It was that idea.
It was like your way of giving a gift back to Ireland, because you knew that once that journey was over, you were going to, I guess, close that chapter of your life up, pack everything away, sell things, and become two people who are living off your bicycles to travel long distances for a long time around the world. We mentioned at the start, Jordi's idea was that this trip would be 3 to 6 months. You, Barbara, said, no, it's got to be at least 2 years. Have you actually got a time frame in mind for this adventure that you're currently on?
No. Everything is going so spontaneously that we don't have a return ticket. We just bought a one-way ticket. The rough plan is, like we were saying, like now we're going direction Atacama, then Salar de Uyuni, so part of the Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia. Ideally, we would love to cross through Central America till Mexico, and then probably to the other side of the world. Everything depends, financially as well, how it's going to be, but it's so open. It's completely open. So we kind of like, let's see what life will bring. Every day it's so unexpected for us on the road. Coincidence, for example, today from the place, where we are, speaking to you, it's a home, the Chilean couple we actually met in Argentina. They were in their honeymoon. And we both visit Perito Moreno Glaciar. Then crossing, like they were going towards Ushuaia, but by the car. So when we were crossing, the first border between Argentina and Chile, on the queue, someone is like, waving and screaming, Barbara, Jordi, who is it? It's Jennifer and Julio. And then again, they were on their way back. We were in Rio Grande, and in the car, like someone waving, and they stopped.
And
so
me and Barbara on the bikes again.
Hello. Who is it?
Oh, Jennifer.
Yeah. So of course we were, in touch, and they were telling us, any moment, anytime, if you will be here, you're more than welcome, to stay in our home as long as you need to. So.
And now you're there. I often wonder, it gets covered so much almost in every single episode where I'm interviewing guests who have done travel similar to you, is just the biggest theme, the undercurrent to these adventures are, and the gift that people give themselves is the gift of having these interactions with complete strangers and the generosity and kindness which is shown to them by complete strangers. And it sounds like meeting so many people and having these interactions has also been one of the biggest gifts that you have both given yourselves in traveling this way as well. Would you agree with that, Jordi? Is meeting people and interacting with people on this adventure one of the best things about traveling this way?
Yeah, for me, for us, I think the best time in the adventure when we meet the people. So we have experience when you can believe when we explain. So the people is open the heads, it's commands, and for us all the time. And this is amazing. This is the plan. My first plan when we started the trip is meet the people and local people and connecting and share experience and learn the village, the countryside. We meet the people in Chile explain how they do separate countries, Argentina to Chile. So you remember?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's in English, but it's amazing when playing everything as you say.
Yeah, it's. I think it's the culture, it's the history, it's a different points of view from every single person. And like he says, it's learning. It's not only learning about the stories and the place and the people and the families, but I think for me, I speak for myself, it's like a lesson also for me. Sometimes, whether we like or not, sometimes we do have our prejudice. Sometimes, we think something in our head, and then you are in the situation and you be like, oh my God, come on, how that could even cross my mind, So yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's the best part of the journey, and yeah, I think it's the best. Apart from the places which we see, it's the connection with the people. And for me also, like, especially after the COVID, but when every single time when you turn on the TV, no matter which country you are, there is always bad news. Every time they are planting that fear, inside us that, oh my God, somebody has been killed, something happened, somebody got robbed, there have been an earthquake, there have been a million things happening, that I think most of the people, it's afraid. It's afraid to open the door. It's afraid, to do some gesture, to do things, interact with the other people, not because they are bad ones, but because they are afraid after listening all the time the bad news. And the truth is, and I think for us, this is the experience, the amount of good people, every single level, every single part of it. I always get very emotional. I don't know. I can't. When people who don't have so much, that we know that they have even less than us, and they will share with you anything, absolutely anything. It's such an act of kindness, that energy which is exchanged in the moment, that it's just impossible to forget. I think this is the essence, absolute essence of this trip.
Absolutely. And moments that also, I guess, change you as well because of those experiences. I often think you can't undertake travel for this long in this manner and be the same person without changing. Like, how you are now is so different to how you were when you first set off on a bicycle and turned the pedals for the first time, because all those experiences and what you've seen and the interactions with the people, I can't believe that they can do anything but change you as well, of how you are and how you see the world. I'd be interested to know, having seen so many parts of the world, much more than most people would ever see, what is your view of the world? Like, you were talking there that turning the TV on, we're infiltrated with bad news, but your view of the world as well, has it changed since you started this trip?
Definitely did change the level of the stress. This was this was, I think, one of the biggest lessons, for me. And I realized how stressed we are in Europe. When I compare South America with Europe, like continents, it's completely different perspective. It was such a shock for me, positive, of course, how people who don't have much, they struggle, things are not going the best, and they still smile. They, when I actually ask them sometimes when I had opportunity, because you not always get the opportunity, but when I had it, when I asked them like, but how do you do it? And they say, why not? What I will have if I will be miserable all day? It's another day. It's a great day. It's they just, I think, I don't know whether they have in the blood, but they so positive. And then when I look back at my life, how with stupid simple things, I got stressed out, and I think most of the people, and they are preoccupied with a lot of things that they don't really matter. Yeah, it's completely different perspective. I certainly learned how not to worry, how let go, how kind of leave things be, and just sit and wait for the result. Not completely not doing anything, not the extreme, but to give it a little bit of time. And yeah.
What about you, Jordi? What have you learnt the most since you have travelled like this? Hello everyone, I just wanted to take a quick moment to say a big heartfelt thank you to all of you listeners who have given me a small financial donation and supported me on Buy Me a Coffee. All of those donations do make a difference. They help to support the running costs of this podcast so that I can keep producing episodes for you each week. And I really appreciate all of you who've clicked on the Buy Me a Coffee link and sent me through a small donation. If you are listening and would like to support the show, you can do so quite easily. I've provided a link to Buy Me a Coffee. You will find it in the show notes. If you click on that link, and you can choose to buy me a coffee, which again is just a small donation which helps towards the running costs of the show. Thank you all so much. Okay, now let's go back to the show.
I think for me, it's not for cycling or hiking or on the car. It's when you come in here in this country, for example, Argentina. The Argentine people is share everything, and you see the house, the very poor house, is not have nothing. Nothing is nothing. And go for shop and make a guiso, like a
Traditional soup.
casserole soup, and big and chicken and vegetable. That it's a lot of money for him, and you stay here. Wow, it's this. So you learn the different values. Is I don't know.
Through the benefit of interviewing lovely guests like yourselves, each time I do an interview, I get the gift of their learnings as well. And it has definitely been the biggest theme I've learned is just how much people have been blown away by the kindness and generosity shown to them by strangers who, I think it was Roxy and Tommy, they're two round-the-world travellers as well, Polish and French, and can't remember which country they were in Central Asia, but they were taken in, and it struck them that they had more on their bikes, which wasn't much at all, than a lot of these people actually had in their house. Mm-hmm. They were sort of thinking, we don't have much, and yet we still have more, and these people are giving us everything. And that always really stayed with me and struck me. And I imagine you have had that exact experience yourself as well.
I remember my mom in Poland, when someone was coming visit us, like the guest, she always was like preparing the best, whatever we had. One day, she said to me that guest at home, it's like God entering your home. So you prepare, you make the best for it, like whether it's food, whether like whatever you have, you always offer. You don't, I don't know, you don't save it for another time or for yourself. If somebody is going to sleep in your bed, and you had your new duvet, which you didn't use it, you will open that night because they are so special, and like you want to give them the best. So for years, for me, having that experience, and also to listen, always be on the other side. And also part of our, like when we were the warm shower host, we were doing our things, to have that experience from this perspective. Oh my god, it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Like so many situations happen that I feel like they say karma, whatever good you give, it will come back to you. And it definitely is in our case, with not only with the food, but like with a lot of situation and the interaction with the people.
A lot of my guests say that they do notice like changes in the culture when you cross a border. Sometimes it can be really stark. You really realize, wow, we're in a different place. We're very near to where we were, but people are different here culturally. But something that doesn't seem to change has been that generosity and kindness. I wonder though, if I think about where you've been, so many different places, has it ever struck you just on that cultural point? Have you crossed a border to another country and gone, wow, this is totally different? Have you had that feel of all of a sudden I am somewhere totally different to where I was cycling yesterday?
Yeah.
You don't know what happened in this country. What happened in this, for example, here in Santiago, when we come in here, say you don't cycling here in the city, but it's very 100% you don't have a bike after that. So rough or this very very dangerous. Okay, me and Barbara are cycling.
It was actually a funny
20
situation
kilometers.
because when we came to
So-
Santiago, we were cycling, and before entering we were told, no matter what, you don't stop, you don't speak with someone, you go directly to the address, you have it, and that's it. And then of course we were like cycling through the different parts of it, and in one moment like two guys were like, please stop, and I was like, not really. So I went, and Jordi stopped.
Yeah,
What happened, Jordi?
nothing.
Nothing. No, I went only
That's
a few
okay.
meters.
That's okay. All these planes are very colorful in the other side, and this strip, and don't go here. And it's very, very nice people.
Yeah.
But in the first moment, it's like, what happened? Maybe no, but it's nothing.
Like the two guys, they've seen us, and they said, look, straight away by seeing you, your bikes, your panniers, we know that you are from the outside.
The problem is the news. Every time is the bad news.
Yeah.
But 99% of the people in the world is good people.
Interesting. Something you mentioned, Steph Devery, a awesome Aussie adventurer who travelled all the way down through Europe to the very, very southwest tip of Africa in Cape Town. And she said something which really struck me is when you get advice from people about, oh, don't go there, it's dangerous, or don't go here, or something like that, you have to take the advice with context as well. Like, why are they telling me this? Are they telling me this because they know for sure, or is it an assumption that they have been told all their life it's going to be very dangerous there? And she sort of said to me, you take that advice on board, but you take it with context. And if someone's telling me don't go to this country, but they've actually never been to that country, maybe I'm not going to listen to them. If someone's saying don't go around the street corner or don't take that road because it's flooded, I might listen to them a bit differently. And I think the instance you're talking about there in the city, everyone, has this assumption, oh my gosh, it's going to be very dangerous for you. You're really vulnerable. And I wonder if it's just seeing you with that vulnerability, and it comes back to them being kind and looking out for you. They don't want bad stuff to happen to you, and they worry for you. It's their worries that they push onto you as well.
I think this is exactly what you say. Like, people generally worry. Also, we do listen to the locals. Like, we, part of our route, it's been changed. We didn't cross through certain cities because not from only one person, from good few of them, we've heard that, look, things change so much and it becomes so bad that we definitely think that it's not worth it for you to try to cross through a certain place. And we actually did listen. So I say it's a genuine advice and a kindness. And I think in this case, entering Santiago as well, truth is that it's huge. I think I don't know, like, it's for so long also being away from the big city, I think you get a bigger shock, suddenly entering, when you come from a nature, from a small towns, crossing through the small towns, coming to the big city, like, I think it's a shock to the system.
And sometimes it's not only for the bad people, it's more for the traffic. It's very, very dangerous go inside the cities, but here it's like motorway.
Motorway,
The
yeah.
motorway is the 4 lines. You can come in here on the bike. Very, very dangerous. And the people coming 120 go. Phew.
The danger isn't necessarily the people. It could just actually be the traffic. And in fact, other round the world adventurer, Mackenzie Barney, that was her biggest thing when someone said, should you be scared? And there's nothing to be scared about. She travelled solo as a female. I wasn't scared solo, but traffic was something that was more concerning. That's the most dangerous thing about this, is sometimes the cars.
Yeah.
Can I ask, do you both enjoy then your time where you are more remote and in the countryside as opposed to being in the cities? Or do you enjoy also discovering that vibe of a city and the speed of a city and the hustle and bustle of witnessing people there as well?
Definitely, like I personally prefer to be outside of the city. I love nature, but as you say, I'm happy to be able to visit Santiago, to say, oh, we've been here, we visit, we've seen it, we know what it's like. We don't move now in the city center by the bike. We did use the metro, we use the bus. Yeah, it's a different experience. Also, especially through Europe, when we were traveling, we've been traveling through so many cities, and oh my God, like I really, really enjoyed it. It was great to be able to be in the places and the visit and the cultural part, especially. Yeah, I think it definitely adds to it. So, despite the difficulties, yeah, I think it's nice to visit. This is the reason also why we plan, like for example, coming to Santiago, we did ask for help, one of the truck drivers for the entrance. So we don't have to actually go right next to the motorway, for safety reasons. So once we've been in center, he let us go. We were cycling, to where we are staying, and that's okay. And for the moment, the bikes are parked here. We know that they are safe, because this is another thing. We always stay in the places where the bikes are safe. And thanks to that, we can use the public transport and being able to visit the city. This is our way of doing the things if it comes to the cities.
And we can buy the parts for the bikes.
Yeah, this is
We
another
can buy,
thing. Like
in the small cities, we can find chains or nothing for the bikes, and coming here and like tick tick.
Yeah,
chains.
Equipment and spares, and to fix your bike if you need. Yeah, you would need to replace your chains and your cassettes soon too, no doubt.
Yeah, they're doing them today, actually.
Yeah, today.
Jordi, have you had some very bad mechanicals on this trip so far?
No.
Yeah. Yes,
No.
of course you had. What is it called? Fusion? The little part when we were in the cycling through the Cuesta de Huaco?
Yeah, but it's no. Yeah. It's broken my chains, my gears. Yeah, but it's we don't have an accident. It's no problem. Oh no. Sorry. I broke one spoke every day in Europe.
Oh,
Every day one from Holland to Poland. Every day one little broken. Every day change, take out the wheels, change every day. So this is I am expert.
you are an expert now at wheel. You could build your own wheel probably.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when we go to Poland and I buy 36 or 772 spokes, new spokes, and change all the wheels.
And since then, have you had less problems then? Like,
Yeah, no more problems. No more problems.
that's a good lesson, actually. Because I think anyone can go on any bike and any wheel, but there is a time where you will understand very quickly the inferiority sometimes of some very basic equipment. And spokes on a wheel is a great example of that. If you break one spoke, it's one thing, but if it's constantly breaking spokes, there's probably a problem there with the wheel that needs fixing. I must say, though, when it took you ages to say, oh, no, I haven't had any problems, it gave me such an insight into your personality, Jordi, of that easygoing, patient, yeah, everything's fine nature. No, we haven't had any problems. It's all been great. I love it. I think you're like the perfect travel companion.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to be the summary on my personality
I
then.
prefer change one spoke for 10-20 minutes, not working for 8 hours. A very hard job. I prefer my dream, cycling.
I want to know what it was like to actually practically get going for this journey. Like, we've talked about elements of it, but it has struck me like you have really said goodbye to your life in Ireland. You've packed up your things. I'm imagining you also sold a lot of possessions potentially as well. Like, you've said goodbye to family, not forever, obviously, family and friends, but you're not seeing them for a long, long time. What has that been like to do? Because I think that is potentially a barrier to people starting is leaving the comforts of a life that they understand, leaving the routine, leaving the job, leaving the financial security behind in a job as well, and leaving family. What has it been like for you to do that?
Well, for me, it's been emotionally difficult. We had, as we say, the end. I mean, the exact moments when we were closing the doors. It was like, okay, it's really happening. Also, that time, I think the extra to the emotions was our 15-year-old cat. She became sick and she had a cancer, and there was nothing that we can do. We were told that she will go earlier, but she actually hold on till the day before of our journey. So on the top of every single emotion, we had to go to the vet and put her down and say the last goodbye. So we were devastated. It was very, very difficult. I couldn't believe that taking the flight, like an hour and a little bit, you transfer from Dublin to Amsterdam to completely different place. It was actually beautiful. This was the part which I was telling you before. The first night we spent with the couple that we actually met in Albania on our cycling trip in Albania, and we didn't have much contact, but the moment when they've heard that we are going to fly to Amsterdam, and I actually asked them if they know any place where we could stay, not in their home, but maybe some local place or something also not very expensive. They actually postponed their holidays by 2 days. And they said, look, why don't you just come to our home? And we received such a TLC. Like for me, this was like a balsam, on my broken heart. So yeah, another part, the reason why we were cycling, to Poland, it was of course to say goodbye. But my mom, it's very, very sick. She got a really bad heart attack a few years back. And unfortunately, she has only like 26% of the heart functioning. So this wasn't just the goodbye. This is actually goodbye. In fact, we did had a conversation in a case like if something happened, we will be here and there will be no connection. And if she passed away, I asked her would she like me to come back, be there, or to do something. What's her point of view if it comes to that topic? So no, like she was quite happy, that we're going, and then I'm going, and we're going to fulfill the dream. And she told me not to worry, not to stress out about, and just if something happened, wherever. Oh, I'm getting emotional. That wherever in the world we will be, she said, just to put the candle or look at the sky, and yeah.
Oh, wow.
That goodbye was it was very, very hard. But I tell you, for me, there was another reason why, despite everything, I said yes. Jordi knows that. When we were in Dublin, I was, thinking, and also I think working in the hospital, and before I was working in a nursing home with elderly, and you have different conversation with people, at the final moments of their life. And I actually had that physical experience with the patients. The reason why I said yes, despite my fear, because I 100% was worried, about a million things. I am a woman, and we have cables and everything, it's connected, and we're twisting the situations in a million ways. Not sure if every woman, but I think a lot of us, do that, and it's thinking so much, if it comes to the future. But I ask myself how I would feel if I have a dream and it's possible to fulfill that dream. It's nothing that, I'm asking for impossible. And the only one person standing on the way to fulfill that dream is the person I love the most, which would be in that case, for example, Jordi. And then when I know now, like being, I'm 42, looking back at certain situations that I wish to do them differently, I was thinking, okay, I might say no because I am afraid now, but then we get to the age of 60 and 70, and then I will be regretting. And the reason why he didn't fulfill his dream, it was just because of my fear. And then I imagine myself on the last moments, if, he would be gone, how I would feel about it. And I straight away felt awful. And I was like, no, definitely we're going to do it. It's possible. It's a new experience for me. I'm very, very open. I don't know a lot of things, but I'm going to learn. I don't know if I'm gonna like them or not. Let's find out, but let's do it. I don't want to be the person to stand on the journey, like, of the fulfilling of dream of the person I love the most.
So many lessons to take out of there. And
I know it's heavy. I don't know if I did explain well, but because it was a lot of emotions inside of me. The fear was big. I came to Ireland from Poland because, at that time I didn't earn, good money. I wanted, I came for a better life. Ireland was the first country that opened the borders for Poland, so we could actually come, legally. So yeah, leaving that comfort zone for unknown, yeah, it wasn't easy. But along the way also you learn, like as you ask about the selling the things, at the end of the day, things are things. So what if you have a things, but you don't have the connection with the people, or your relation is more important?
yeah, there's experiences which aren't physical that mean so much more than the things that we collect.
Exactly. Yeah, I have my moments when I want to throw the bike, I had my moment. I remember you've asked about Dubrovnik and Athens, and when we pushed, the bikes, oh God, through the Albanian mountains with beautiful views. But this was my moment also asking myself whether I'm actually capable to do that, because it was so hard, and I knew that friend of mine is in Italy, drinking mojito on the beach. And I said to myself, what the heck I'm doing here?
I mean, you're talking about a hard moment. Jordi, I know you're very easygoing and patient and everything is fine, but I imagine you have had some very physically and emotionally hard moments during this trip as well. Like, you must have had some hard days traveling too, no doubt. Like, it hasn't been all very easy for you either, has it?
Yeah, the difficult days when I am sick, but I have problems, and sometimes I can go the same speed or energy like Barbara. So normally I go too fast, but sometimes like, I can. Yeah, and that days is very difficult, but I can breathe. Yeah. So it's these days it is not every day, but sometimes it happen. Yeah, this difficult is it's a difficult day for me. It's not for roads or people or no. It's like for me, myself. Yeah. She told me all the time, "You have a lot of patience." Patience? Yeah. All
Yeah.
the time. All the time. All the time. Yeah. But this is my dream. I don't need stress. I don't need nothing. So I like. It's difficult. I like. If you have a problem, no, I don't like. But I stay with you. This is my time in this life. I 51 years old, so I need to enjoy the moment. It's not for angry or no, no. This is enjoy. Only enjoy every day, every day, every day, all the time. Yeah.
I'm not sure if Jordi explained it well. He has a trouble with the breathing when so his difficult days, sometimes physically it's because of that. He has COPD. So one of the pioneers is full of the medication, and partially the reason also of this journey and doing that journey right now at this time, it's because of his sickness. When we started to think of going, he had so much difficulties if it comes to his breathing and health that he got up to 38% of the capacity of his lungs. He had at that time. Yeah, it's been really. I remember he couldn't actually. We were in Barcelona and his parents, and he couldn't walk with me. So yeah, I got angry and I said, "I'm not listening to you anymore. We're going to the hospital, and that's the test that's been done." So yeah, so I said to him that, okay, we can plan, we can do, but you have to recover and you have to get your lungs back in a shape with the percentage of the capacity as much as you can. So we got to the 52%. So also waiting for a lot of people wait for a pension to have to do things. So this is my point of view also, to tell everyone, don't wait. A lot of people are so sure that the next day it's gonna come, or that in the future we'll do something. It's not gonna be less difficult. I always say it's like having a baby. It's never a right moment, because there is always something. You either will have it and then adapt to the new situation and you learn from the new situation, or not. The biggest shock also was, if it comes to that, this example, one day in Argentina, I said to the lady, "Oh, well, see you tomorrow." And she said, "If the God will want." And I was like, first moment I wasn't sure if I understood well, but for them it's kind of like, we don't know if we're gonna see each other tomorrow morning. And yet we take so many things in life for granted. Going back to Jordi, yeah, they are certainly physical difficulties, and on a difficult days we do less kilometers, or we stop, or we take one extra day rest. Yeah, we plan route accordingly to the situation.
I have one day in hospital.
And a hospital on a trip in a different country.
Yeah, in Argentina. But have a good experience, the good doctors, the good everything is
You see, this is
fine.
another
Yeah.
situation if it comes to people and how things
Yeah.
happened. For a few days, before, we've been crossing through La Rioja, and it's been so hot, and we've heard about the Zonda winds, and people were like warning us, about them, and we kind of, well, okay, we couldn't even imagine something we've never really heard so much about and we never experienced. So we keep going. Problem was that at nighttime we couldn't take a proper rest because it was so hot. So maximum 3-4 hours sleep, and then go again early in the morning before the sun comes up and become unbearable temperature. So that day,
long days, yeah.
Yeah, so that
100
day,
kilometers, yeah.
that day Jordi was tired, really, really tired. We had only 50 kilometers to do to the next town. But after 40 kilometers, he said, look, I really need a rest. So we parked the bikes under the tree. He opened the mat and he just lie down. But within a split second, he fell asleep. So that time I intend to stop one of the car to help us out, to bring us to the town for the last, 10 kilometers. Nobody stopped because people on those distances in these parts are quite afraid. A lot of, things happen. So bad things happen. So nobody stopped. But I think 45 minutes later, when he woke up, we kind of slowly, start getting ready. Police came over and were asking us if we are okay, if everything is fine, And we were like, yeah, it's okay. Like, he's been just resting. We didn't know what happened. Basically, one of the car driver rang the police and the ambulance.
Emergency.
That emergency.
Yeah.
Sorry, emergency.
112, yeah.
Yeah, that, there is someone lying under the tree. Like, they thought that there had been an accident and I'm trying to stop someone. So the police actually packed, our bikes, and the ambulance came. And the minute when they came, they checked Jordi's blood pressure and the breathing and everything. And it's been, quite bad. His blood pressure was low. Of course, my poor husband, first thing he was worrying about, is the payment, about the hospital and everything else. So he said, no, I'm
fine. No problem.
I said to him, no, definitely, if the doctor is saying you have to go, there is a reason why you have to go. So he's been transferred through, on the ambulance, and I follow with the police, and the bikes. It was small town, but they've been absolutely amazing. Being in the Europe and knowing that you always have to, as a person on the side, you have to take care of everything. In this case, was completely different. The police drove me right to the hospital. They found me a safe place, in the hospital building where we could leave the bikes. They prepared room for Jordi and for me with the bathroom. So they told me, if I want to change my clothes and also have a shower, there is no problem. He's been connected, to all the medications and everything else. So yeah, we both were allowed to stay for one night. He's had done, all the x-rays. He's been badly dehydrated as well. But yeah, everything turns out okay. They gave him medication. Luckily in Argentina, the medical system, it's free for everyone. So we didn't have to pay. But yeah, look.
And the good quality.
Someone on the road, because probably we would done that 10 kilometers. Probably we would leave the next day. 100% I know something would happen. So I have that feeling on this journey that we do, for some reason, we have that protection, that the good situations and the good people,
I have to say,
are coming, and it's just inexplicable. Yeah.
I always ask people now to tell me about one day of their trip, and I feel like you've just done that without me asking the question. Like, wow. Not a scenario that you wanted to happen, right? But what an experience for you both to go through. And I guess the learning there as well, we can't control everything. If you try to live your life in all this sense of control, you don't know what's going to happen. I say it so many times, it's a bit of a broken record, but I think when you go on a long distance adventure, you've signed up to a course in problem solving that you never knew you were doing, because you have problems come up and yet you learn how to solve them. And it sounds like you have both been doing that on this journey as well, for sure. Time is flying, and I do want to, though, find out just a little bit, mainly because of my own curiosity. Route 40 and Patagonia, getting all the way down to Ushuaia as well. What was that experience like from a landscape point of view? Like the mountains, the scenery, how has that been? And Jordi, was that a destination that you, when you were figuring this out, was that somewhere that you really wanted to experience for yourself?
Route 40 is for me or Barbara or other people from Europe. It's not the same from the people from Argentina, but it's like a long distance. You don't have nothing, but this is every day. You can find the people. You can find different places. It's amazing. More and more. For me, the views in the mountains is Cordillera de los Andes. It's amazing. You can't believe it. It's amazing. And the best part is Ushuaia. Never, I think I'm gonna visit Ushuaia. And
It was never on plan.
yeah, never on plan. And when we arrive by bike, I start. We are here. Take it. So cry and like now. Yeah, it's amazing. Now you can imagine it's I think it's 16,000 kilometers from Spain. 16,000. It's like a flight, but we are here, and we check the map. It's like we are here. This is the end of the world. Wow! It's not everyone coming here by bike. No, this is us. Yeah, we enjoy.
I think, Bella, important information to this story is that originally we meant to go from Buenos Aires to Iguazu, cross through Paraguay to Bolivia, Salar de Uyuni, and go up.
Yeah, never we're gonna go.
We never had in plans, to go to Ushuaia. What happened? It's been so hot in Paraguay that I wasn't able to cycle. I've never experienced such a temperatures and humidity. And Jordi said, to bring down the temperature, he said, what do you think if we change the route and instead of cycling up, we will go first, to Ushuaia and we will do the route 40. And I was like, okay.
It's only 4,500 kilometers.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
Okay.
Yeah, as we change, I add up to this route because I wasn't interfering, but getting closer south, I actually wanted to enter, instead of going full Route 40, I wanted to do also Carretera Austral. So wanted to cross through Chile. And for me, so far, the Route 68, which goes from Salta to Cafayate. Yeah, so from Salta to Cafayate, Route 68, it's called Chilean Patagonia Route Austral. So far, it's been wow. Amazing.
More than you could have ever imagined, right?
More. I never thought I will see it. I love mountains. I've always walked quite a lot, and to be there, to smell the nature, the parks, the natural parks.
It's crystal water everywhere. So it's amazing. The blue lakes, the blue waterfall. It's wow.
And it's not Photoshop. It actually exists in the nature.
Yeah.
The White River in Hornopiren that we visit. No, pinch me because I actually can't believe it that I am here. Yeah, and then Ushuaia as well. Yeah, we cried like babies at the end of it.
Yeah.
When I saw your photos and your reels and stuff of being in Ushuaia, I think I had a few goosebumps watching it. We had been in contact. I knew I would be interviewing at some point as well. And just seeing you get to this destination and everything and knowing, scrolling through and seeing what you'd been through, like it was a pretty pivotal moment. It was so awesome. It was, I was giving you all the virtual high fives.
Thank you so much.
If people do want to follow the rest of your journey now, the best way to do that, I imagine, is probably Instagram. Am I correct?
Instagram and Facebook. Those two we use regularly. We did put some of the videos on the YouTube, but we're going to be very honest. On this journey for the moment, we have no time to edit videos. So maybe sometimes in the future we will do it. But Facebook and Instagram, yeah.
We don't have a time. We enjoy all the time of the people, the families. We don't have a time for a video. I think it's the first day we open the computer.
Yeah.
I think in 2 months.
I feel so privileged that it's this interview that's done it. That's great. And for the benefit of my guests, your account there to find you on Instagram and Facebook is at Two Locos on Wheels, and
Yeah.
I will provide a link to that in the show notes for everybody as well. Get on board. I feel energized talking to you both and understanding now more so the motivations to take the decision to travel in this way. And also, I just love the flexibility that you have taken with this trip. It's not a defined route that you need to do this and it's a set itinerary. You've been flexible, and where you've needed to listen to each other to make changes, you have. And I love that. And may the experiences that are to come just be energizing ones for you both each and every day as well. Barbara and Jordi, I could talk to you forever, but I do need to wrap things up. I have questions which I ask all my guests, and I'm going to ask you these as well. The first one is music related. And Barbara, you mentioned that music is definitely something that you listen to. You listen to the radio to keep you going there, to motivate you in your day. If you have to choose a song, and that song is going to be the soundtrack to this adventure, what song would you choose?
Crazy.
Crazy?
Crazy. It's actually called Crazy. I think it's Lost Frequencies.
It seems apt for an account that's called Two Locos on Wheels that you have a song called Crazy. What about, I always give the benefit of it when I interview a couple that each of you pick a song. Jordi, do you have a different song that you would pick?
No, this is our song. We put it all the time. Yeah, this is the best.
Off the record, we do have one which is called Bonbon Asesino.
Oh yeah, this is the song on Christmas party. Yeah.
Yeah, when we stay with one of the family in Belen, they actually was so different, and it was karaoke. And first, we've been listening on the different bars. When we sometimes stop on the television, it's been that song, and then we realized, like Jordi was singing with one of the guys in the Christmas time, and then for the New Year in a different place when we
very very popular in Argentina.
Yeah, again came up. So it's kind of, we love that in South America, song Bonbon Asesino, it's following us.
I need you to send me a link to that song. Pretty much now, Barbara and Jordi, you get your song added to the Seek Travel Ride music playlist. It's available there for people to listen to on Spotify or Apple Music, and each song on that playlist has been chosen by a guest of Seek Travel Ride, and each song is their soundtrack to their adventure. So it's almost 4 hours long now, people. If you're going for a long ride or on a long journey and you want to listen to all sorts of different music, this is the music that has inspired the adventurers on this show. So check it out now, and I'll have a link to them in the show note as well. Final two questions. The first one, you have a decision to make. You can ride your bike one day and it will be up a constant hill climb, or alternatively, you ride your bike all day into a constant headwind, strong headwind. Which one are you going to choose?
Go up the mountains. The wind is the more difficult thing for the bikes. Yeah, I prefer go the mountains. It's a good day cycling, pictures, and yeah. And Barbara eat every 3 hours. It's no problem. Stop, rest.
What about you, Barbara?
Yeah.
What about you, Barbara?
I pick the mountains. I most likely will push the bike if it's a high percentage. I'm not as strong physically as Jordi. I do my walks, I enjoy the nature, and I love mountains. So definitely. And first time ever in my life, I had the experience that in Patagonia with such a strong wind, the side wind came and literally blow me off, and I felt, I never even thought that this can be possible, or I will have experience. But no, mountains, 100% mountains.
Yeah, go up.
For different reasons, but mountains.
It's scary when that happens with a crosswind, and I've had some days with really bad crosswinds, and the amount of fear I've had afterwards for many weeks after because of strong crosswinds. I'm a mountain lover. I love that you both picked the mountains. More than 90% of my guests are picking mountains, and you both added to the mountain lover list. Very good. Final question, Barbara and Jordi. You have a choice one day where you can spend 4 hours cycling on your own, or 4 hours and you're with other people. And these other people aren't you two. I want to make that distinct. It can just be strangers. Would you rather be cycling on your own or cycling with strangers?
Oh.
I cycle solo.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't have picked that. Wow. Okay. Oh, what about you, Joe?
I like cycling another people, but in Spain, before meet Barbara, I am in the club cycling every Saturday and Sunday. But the problem is with my capacity is pulmonary is I can go in the same speed. It's very difficult for me, so I prefer go alone. But it's more for me. Yeah,
and
but
see.
I prefer, yeah.
Yeah.
So both of you alone, although I know if I allowed it, both of you would prefer to cycle with each other. Can I just say, Barbara and Jordi, two locos on wheels, it has been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you, to chat with you, learn about your experiences, how you have made this goal a reality. I came across a quote from you both, and it said that dreams require risk. The dream to cycle for this long, I'm sure, has not been without risk, but it has been such a rewarding one just listening to you both share your experiences there. Thank you so, so much for sharing time with me and sharing your story here for our listeners on Seek Travel Ride.
Thank you so much. It's been absolute pleasure
Thank you, Bella. Thank you.
to share,
Yeah.
with you and with the rest of the people our story.
Yeah.
I'm so energized having just wound up my conversation with Barbara and Jordi, and I loved every part of listening about how this journey has unfolded from them. I can see even just the way they met there on the Camino. They met through long distance slow travel, and they're taking such a long slow travel journey now, but just on two wheels. Things that I also really took away from speaking with them was just how much it meant for them to live in the moment and to seize the day, so to speak, to not take each day for granted and to appreciate that sometimes we just need to do the thing, whether it's a long distance goal, whether it's a weekend away, whether it's seeing whether or not you could put luggage on your bike and travel and camp somewhere. Not worth putting it off, just do the thing. And I hope that that's something that you have taken away as well, because if Barbara and Jordi's experiences are anything to go by, it has been such an enriching thing for them to both do, and they have learnt so much about the people and the cultures and the beauty of this world by doing it as well. If you're a new listener to Seek Travel Ride, I definitely encourage you to check out our back catalogue now. We have over 70 episodes published that you can trawl through, and chances are that there's someone who has taken a bike adventure that you would find inspiring, or perhaps is one that you yourself would like to undertake as well. Scroll on through that back catalogue. There are so many guest stories and interviews for you to be inspired by. And if you are enjoying the show and would like to help us out, it's a real great way for you to do that. And it's actually through telling your friends and family about the show. Sometimes the best ways to help the show to grow is actually just through word of mouth. Chances are, if you like bike adventures, that you probably know someone that probably also does as well. If you could let them know about the show or share it on your social media feed, it really helps quite a lot and helps just the show to grow and reach new people, reach new ears, and spread us even further all the way around the world than we already are. And I'm really appreciative for all the support that you are showing me. Until the next episode, my name's Bella Malloy. Thanks for listening.